Hey, I'm going to do a support video for Jewel. Now this is just for my suds because we already know what people feel out there. But first of all, anybody who thinks that Greg Jackson was the ringleader in some sort of attack on Chad doesn't understand the situation that happened at all. I know Greg, and he reached out to Chad for weeks, trying to get him to call him, to help him. Tim Henderson was trying to reach out to him. Finally, they did talk today, which is good. And Chad now sees the distinction. He didn't understand the distinction, I think. His message was weaponized by the Lordshippers. The grace community didn't, what we call the grace community, did not really respond to Chad's counterfeit Christian message. Now, I know that he had hundreds of people on his wall when he first did it, raising concerns, but those were his subscribers. And they were people who'd been with this channel for a long time, raising concerns with him about the message because they detected a problem with it and a confusing mixture of salvation and discipleship, which is, a backloaded works message, a backloaded gospel, is simply when you present the gospel, but then look to something else for evidence that you've either believed it or been saved by it. We know that we are saved because we believe the message we received, period. Any other message, any other validation of salvation is a works backload. If you say, and you know you believed, or you know that you've been saved because of you've taken the path of discipleship, because you've surrendered to the Lord, because you've had a changed life, all that. That is not a problem to say that you're going to have a changed life when you get saved. But we never call that the assurance of salvation. Assurance that you have eternal life is entirely built around the fact that you've received and believed a message. And it's the simple message of the gospel. And anyone who changes that has made an accursed perversion of the gospel. And I think Chad fell into it through misunderstanding. But it was clear enough on his wall that hundreds of people responded. And nobody in our community really responded verbally until the Lordshippers took it up and said, see, this is what we've been saying all along. This shows that the OSAS community is playing favorites because they call us out on this, but they won't call him out on this. And it shows hypocrisy. And then they weaponized his message again and again and again to use it as an attack on the security of the believer. And then all over his wall, he had these people doing that, right? So, Jewel, who only has a couple hundred subscribers, and he's got 100,000, did a message because nobody was calling it out, And I don't remember everything she said in her message, but he wouldn't have ever even seen that message. It wouldn't have even made it to his attention because she's not on his radar, and she has maybe 50 views of video, which is fine. That's what God's given her. And her words are very nourishing. But anyway, Tim Henderson took her message because he likes Jewel and was trying to reach out to Chad, who wasn't responding. And so he sent Chad, that message to show Chad, this is what it is. And Tim thought the message was good. Tim thought that video Jewel did was good. That's why he brought it to Chad. Okay, saying this isn't just me, this isn't just Greg, this isn't just people attacking you, this is a real issue. Well, Chad, again, took that as an attack. He's told Greg, if she doesn't take that video down until at the end of the day, I'm going to expose both of you. And he didn't wait for her to respond because he was so upset. So he put it up on his wall and did a post saying he'd been attacked and here's the person. And thousands of people went over to Jewel's channel. Now, there's a person who usually gets 50 video views. She got like 2,500, 200 thumbs down. Her whole wall was polluted with comments of people who clearly aren't even clear about the gospel. I mean, that's the thing on that channel. He's got 100,000 subscribers. It is a wide mix of people with a wide range of beliefs. And they like Chad's prophecy stuff, but a lot of them are not clear on the gospel. And, I mean, basically, they flooded her channel. It was like a DDoS attack, you know. It was another weaponization. It was a crowd with pitchforks. Now, we didn't launch an attack on him. He wasn't even on the radar until the Lord Shippers got a hold of his message, because I'm not sub to him. Now, I did do a message about what is a backloaded works message, and I didn't name him. And Greg did reach out to him, you know, and he did comment on Jules' video. But there's nothing wrong with Jules' video. Somebody should have done it, and it shouldn't have had to have been someone with a couple hundred subscribers. Someone with a couple hundred subscribers should not be standing up against Goliath, David versus Goliath, like that. You know, that it really no, she should not have been hung out to dry like that. Now, I'm not blaming Chad for this, because I know that he had people in his ear painting the situation a certain way. But now people are saying, well, actually, we're tired of hearing the whole difference between all this. We're tired of fighting. This is not just people picking at minutia and trying to divide people. This is people defending and contending for the truth. What is the gospel? How do we know we're saved? And yeah, we have to say it a lot. That is the message. It's the power of God unto salvation, and you're constantly having to shoo the birds away from the sacrifice to keep it clean. Like Abraham. The enemy attacks the message, and so the message has to be contended for, defended. And apostasy from the faith is when you decide, I'm not going to fight for that message anymore. It's not that big of a deal. It's not worth not getting along. That's a departure from the faith that was once and for all delivered to the saints, which we are to contend for with our lives. I mean, what are we doing here? And the people who are hurt are the sheep, and it's not because they see the ugliness of people fighting. It's because there's no clear answer for their conscience of how can they know they're saved? How can they be assured they have eternal life? Once they have that, it doesn't matter if everybody's in disagreement. You just understand that there's people who believe the message and there's people who don't. But where there's ambiguity and false unity and compromise, and it's all, let's all just get along. And some people who contend for the faith, because we don't like them, we're going to attack them, even if it means we're attacking the gospel. That's what produces the damage. It doesn't matter if it's ugly. Jesus said he's not ashamed to call us brothers. We know we're in chaos. We know we're in satanic chaos, and we know that we're in spiritual warfare. We know we're wrestling with principalities. We know we're sheep sent in the midst of wolves. We're not expecting a pretty situation. We know it's bloody. We were told it's a war. Why are you trying to cosmetically put makeup on a war to make it look like a picnic? No. Fight the fight. Fight the right fight. All right. Take care.